the world, and there were the objects, and figuring out what the objects were wasn't hard. It was maneuvering in the world that was hard. But that turned out to be wrong. It's really, really hard to figure out what the objects are, and we actually don't know how we do it. Now, 50 years later, we have machines that can orient themselves pretty decently in the world, but they really had to be built in embodied form, and I won't pursue that. At the same time, psychologists who were working on perception ran into exactly the same conundrum, because they figured out that they couldn't figure out how we could see things. And we're still sorting that out. And the literary critics figured out that there was no obvious canonical interpretation for a piece of literature. And that raised a specter, which was, well, if there's no obvious canonical interpretation, how do you know that one interpretation is better than the other? So out of that arose the postmodern notion that there's no grand narrative. There's no justifiable grand narrative. There's an infinite number of ways of interpreting the world, and there's no grand narrative. And fair enough.